Hey, it's Abby Banks here from Homeschool with Moxie. And this video I think is even more important than the beginning of the year. Here's what we're using kind of video, because when I'm recording this, it's January and we are halfway through our school year. I'm going over our 6th grade curriculum choices. And by now we know what we love, what we're keeping, what's working. Like I like to say, we know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm not going to sugarcoat anything today. I'm going to tell you what we still love, why we love it, and a few things that we are tossing right now. Yes, as a homeschooler, you really can toss stuff. You can set it aside. You can change your mind. You can change what you're using, even if it's January, even if you spent money on it. You have permission to change things up because you're the homeschool parent. Now, if I'm tossing stuff, I don't want you to think that that curriculum is a terrible curriculum. It'll never work for any kid. It might be the perfect solution for your child at his stage, at her stage, at whatever level they're at. You might love the curriculum that we cannot stand. So don't choose your curriculum based on what I choose for my daughter, but use some of this information to help you weed out some stuff or just to give yourself permission to make changes. So like I said, go through in the middle of the year, now that you've had a half a year of using stuff, and decide if you're going to finish the year with it. Some stuff, even if it's not perfect, it is worth just pushing through. Let's finish the year. Some stuff it's easier to change than others. So you got to use a little wisdom there. But I want to go through each subject, each content area, what we started the year out with, and what we think of it now. And I'll give you a little bit of explanation. But definitely check out our recaps, our curriculum roundups. And then I'm noticing this mid-year recap is really popular. So I think this is the kind of video you need if you're researching curriculum. See why people don't like things, see why people do love things, but see, most of the time, we don't like to talk about the curriculum that was terrible. We just like to quietly put it away. But I'm here to give you an honest and transparent review. And so if we didn't like it, I'm going to tell you that. But like I said, use wisdom. It might be perfect for your kids. So with all that being said, that was kind of a long-winded intro. Let me jump into the first subject, which I always like to do first, which is math. Okay, for math, if you've been around my channel or my blog for any length of time, you know that I'm homeschooling my 5th child. It's my last kid. We're doing 6th grade. She's my youngest. So this is the 5th time we've been through 6th grade. And the thing that has stayed constant and I still love is our Bob Jones, our BJU Press math. This book has been around the block in about 10 years with 5 kids. It is a solid math curriculum. Now, my caveat always is it's written for a classroom, but we don't use it that way. So let me give you a little rundown. We have the student text, and I'm not sure what edition they're on. This is 3rd edition. They may be on a newer edition. You can literally find any edition. Math is not changing, right? So you can find an older edition on eBay or whatever, but we have the student work text, and we have the teacher book. The teacher book, like I said, it's written for a classroom. I typically don't recommend stuff written for a classroom, but as long as I know how to use this for one-on-one, I'm not teaching a lesson, I'm not looking at the teacher suggestions, lesson planning, like I'm not doing any of that stuff, because teacher books, they're written, this whole two-page spread is written for a classroom teacher, right? I'm not looking at any of this. The only reason I want this book is because it has the answers in here. And I want to be able to check her answers quickly. It's 6th grade math. I don't want to sit there and work out each problem. It's not as easy as say like 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade. I don't buy the teacher book. I can clearly see, did they get that problem correct? And I can correct it without a teacher book. But 6th grade, I want to have the book, and sometimes she actually looks at it herself. So that is why I get the teacher book, not because I'm using anything else. So I do understand it's a little clunky because I'm literally only wanting the answers from here. But we work through this the very next lesson every day. We are pretty much halfway through. We're at lesson 90. We don't do all the big cumulative reviews. I don't do tests or quizzes or anything, and I don't make her do every assignment or every problem. So every lesson is a 2-page spread, And basically, I teach from up here. Here's the new content. We talk about it. We look at it. I might do an example. And then I decide, okay, do, half of the equations or 1/3 of the equations. And if she does fine, we keep moving. If she needs more practice, we do more practice. We kind of just do it that way. It's very relaxed. And we typically like to do it first thing in the morning. And because that is a not consumable workbook, you can't write in it. We just get a cheap old notebook from Walmart, and this is where we write all of our math stuff. So we still love it. Next year, I might switch her to online, to Khan Academy, because it's free. It's really well done. It's videos. Not because I can't teach 7th grade math. I've done it 4 times, but I'm kind of changing my homeschooling style a little bit, as I only have 1-ish kids left. My other child is in high school, and he's doing dual enrollment. So he's half here, half, on his computer doing college classes. So it's very different now teaching my youngest in 6th grade than it was when my oldest or my next one was in 6th grade and I had a bunch of kids. It just is a different homeschooling dynamic. And I think once you get, a decade or a decade and a half of homeschooling under your belt, you'll realize, things change through the seasons. So while I love BJU Press, and I honestly have used it all the way up through high school with some kids, I might get that off my plate next year and have her do something online. But I still recommend it, and we will keep using it. We really, really do love it. All right, next up is language arts for 6th grade. So we are splitting up the different components of language arts into different curriculum that I have used in the past and have really enjoyed with other kids. So we don't have a one resource for all the little aspects of language arts. So let me explain what I'm talking about. So for writing this year, I went back to a tried and true that I haven't pulled out for a while, and that is Writing with Skill by Susan Wise Bauer. This is level 1. It is written for your middle school aged kids, upper elementary and into middle school. And so it can be used over several different grade levels. It's not just specifically 6th grade, I'm trying to say. So this is the instructor book. You are going to want this because it gives you some prompts and help with helping your child through it. This is the student workbook. It's massive, but the reason why it's massive is because it's written to the student. And I love that aspect. You're not sitting there teaching your child. The book is teaching your child. It's written for a homeschool situation. So it says, okay, today you're going to be reading an excerpt on Abraham Lincoln. Based on what you learned last week with analyzing a character analysis, read through this description of Lincoln. It might be several paragraphs long, and I want you to make a 1-level outline based on what you learned last week about description of a person. And so it's all there, everything's in there. And so then she does keep track of all her writing in her notebook. So sometimes it's taking notes, and the book will say, okay, I want you to copy this chart here. And it teaches in the book and then says, take this, write it in your notebook, or do a 1-level outline, or summarize this. Or now you're going to take what you learned and create a short 4-paragraph paper based on this. And it's very user-friendly. So it looks scary because it's humongous, I'm going to say. There's a very tiny learning curve, but once you see how to use it, and I have a very old video from when we first started using this like a decade ago, walking you through it. I think maybe I'll make a new video updating it. But if you're curious about what this looks like inside, check out my Writing with Skill review on my YouTube channel, and I will try to update that. But what I'm trying to say is we still love this. It's my daughter, I wouldn't say loves to write, but she doesn't complain, and it's excellent. It's just very excellent. So we were really focusing on writing this year because we had focused heavily on aspects of grammar last year. So we're focusing on the writing this year. Now, in addition, we're trying to keep the grammar kind of up to date. So Daily Grams is a really helpful one book. You do 1 page a day. It gives you review on everything from capitalization, punctuation, synonyms, parts of speech. It's very easy to use. So I had this in my stash, so I decided to use it. I still love it. We're going to finish it. Excellent. And then we're on the last level of All About Spelling. These are with levels, so it doesn't matter what level. Like you could be in 6th grade and be on level 3 if you needed that kind of review. It's not grade level. It's just what level of spelling instruction and mastery have you reached? This is the last book. So we're about halfway through. We'll probably finish it this year, but if we didn't, we would just keep continuing to use it. All About Spelling is one of our favorites. It's so easy to use. It's scripted out. We just do a little bit every day, and she writes her, if we need to review words or write them or have a mini little review, we just do it again in a cheap little notebook. So as far as reading, she's still just reading some series that she's enjoying. She'll tell me about it. We're just being very relaxed with that. So those are all the aspects of language arts. So we have our writing with skill, we have our spelling, dailygrams, and then just reading for enjoyment. So that is, nothing's changing. We love it. We're going to keep it up. And that concludes our language arts portion. Now let me tell you about some other subjects. All right, here we go. This feels like verse 2 of last year's recap for 5th grade, because I'm going to do the same thing with our science as we did last year, and that's to chuck it. My daughter and I were laughing about this. She said, Mom, you're going to have to do the same things you did last year. You didn't learn. I said, yeah, you're right. Oh my goodness, guys. Okay, so when I did the beginning of the year and I told you I was using Generations Homeschool Science again, did you roll your eyes if you listened to last year's recap? Because we tried their science last year. We made some changes. I think we finished it. Wasn't the best. It wasn't our favorite, but I was like, you know what? I have this in my stash. We're going to use it and try it. And maybe if we do notebooking all year, instead of trying their big old clunky student workbook, maybe we'll like it better. Okay. Like I said, just because we didn't like it or it didn't work for us doesn't mean you won't like it. This might be your favorite curriculum in the world. So still check it out. But this is written, it says for 5th through 7th grade. So if my daughter's 6th grade, she should be like right in the middle. It wasn't engaging. Now it's not ugly. There's color, there's pictures. Okay, here's some of the complaints, and I kind of see it. It just feels not sciencey enough, a little bit just too surface level, doesn't get into the details. She's like, well, tell me more. Like, it just kind of skims the surface of tons of topics. So, I mean, it's God made the world, so the topics are everything between matter, motion, sound and light, water, atmosphere, energy, but it just like kind of talks about each one and moves on. I think it was just, it's not engaging, it's not in depth enough. It just didn't work for us somehow. And we didn't even use the workbook because I already knew this was going to be a drudgery and a bore. It's not, in my opinion, a really great student workbook. So I already had this on hand. We didn't use it. I said, okay, we're going to do notebooking pages. So, you know, we love notebookingpages.com. And I think if you use my code 4onemore.com/notebooking, you can download like thousands of free pages and use them for anything. So we grabbed notebooking pages and, you know, depending on like the style she wanted each day. And there's the light. You know, we would use that. It still was really hard. We slogged through till December, but we decided we're ditching it. And what I'm actually going to do instead, and so we put let me just back up. We put the notebooking pages into a science notebook, and that's how we kept track. Instead of doing something for half the year and then starting with our fresh, you know, what we were going to do for 7th grade, I decided to just go ahead and jump into our middle school science, which we've used before and I know is good. We really like Apologia, and I've had middle schoolers use this before. It's solid. It's way more in depth. This is for the middle school, so like 7th and 8th they recommend it. So I figured we're halfway through 6th grade. Let's just start it. And then we'll just keep going till we finish it. And if, you know, we get it done before the end of next year, fine. We'll take our time. We don't have to rush. Apologia, of course, is, you know, very popular in homeschool circles. It is written for your homeschool family. So it's nice because it's not written for a classroom. It knows you're going to have a homeschooler that is learning from this. So it is written to your student. Now, the thing that can make it pricey, especially if you have multiple kids and you want to reuse the textbook. I really love the student notebooks that are spiral bound, and you can buy them from the publisher or on Amazon or whatever. But they can be kind of pricey, and I have found a new source for student notebooks that you use along with Apologia. I think I've shared this before. It's from Knowledge Box Central. And if you go to the blog post about our mid-year recap here for 6th grade, you'll find links to everything. But instead of buying a whole student notebook, and this is my last kid, so this would be even more inexpensive if I was going to use this for 5 kids. You can purchase an ebook version with all the on your own questions, the lab reports, even lap booking journals to go along with this. We don't use that part, but we use the on your own questions, the study guides, the lab reports, all there for you. You just print them out as you need them. And that was about $15. So it's way cheaper than buying a student notebook. And then all we do is print them and put them in our own notebook. So see, that's kind of what it looks like. And then we go through, and we just started it today. Well, we did the intro today, so we haven't even written anything. But you can see they put the on your own questions there, and then we just use our own paper, print it out, and write it on there. It's a great way, if you're using Apologia and you don't want to buy a student notebook for all your kids, that's a great way to save money. So I think this is way better. I should have just started with this fall, but oh my goodness. Like, I feel ridiculous that we made the same mistake again, but oh well. So that's my transparency. Like I said, you might love Generations Homeschool. It just didn't work for us, and I wanted to love it. The Christian worldview is wonderful, but something about the way they presented the science content just wasn't enough for us, so we're switching. But that's what we're doing. I think it's going to be way better this way. Okay, here's our next category, and that is social studies. We tried a new resource this year, and that was Guest Hollow Junior Geography and Cultures. So this is a literature-based approach, and they basically give you this massive buffet or feast of ideas pulled together each week that you can pick a little, you can pick a lot, you can go the direction of your child. So it's a really good way to customize your learning for that week. So for example, this week we are studying Russia. And so they will have this massive, kind of like a spreadsheet where they list out, here's the books you can read, the chapter book that goes with this, the videos, the quizzes, the printables, the activities, the art projects, the recipes going along with Russia, like all these things that then will give you this really neat, kind of like a unit study, you could almost say, of Russia. So it's geography. We want to know where these places are, but it's also the culture and the music and the clothing and how do the kids live there. It is very interesting. My caveat, and I'm going to the short version is we love it. We're going to keep going with it, and I will do a proper review of it hopefully here in the next few months. But I think it's really dependent on how much effort the parent takes to plan out that week. So I'm not quite used to this at this point. I really like in 6th grade to be able to do the next lesson, go be independent. Here's what we're doing. I plan at the beginning of the year. I say, here's the resource. Let me get everything ready. But I don't sit there every day and go, let's do this video and let's do this book page. And I don't really like to be that nitty gritty. And so this kind of requires me to do more than I actually want to. Maybe I'm being lazy in my older years. It's either that or I'm so used to putting that effort in. If I have 4 kids that are using this resource and I want to make sure it's all, pulled together well for 4 kids, it's a little harder for me with 1 kid. I just want her to go off and do it. So that's my caveat. Like I said, maybe that's not an issue for you and you want to be hands-on. This will save you from having to pull it together yourself. They do all the legwork, but you do need to make some choices every week and decide what you're going to do because you're not going to do everything. So for example, we went through their list. I went through their list of books and decided on a few that looked like they popped up quite a bit. So we're going to use, we use different atlases. Prisoners of Geography is a really great book. And so there might not be something in this every day, but maybe every new region of the world, there's going to be something to read in there. We read, we watch videos, we do online quizzes of, quizzing yourself with the maps, and we use notebooking pages to pull it all together. Here's another book we use. My daughter really was sold on this course when she saw this. She's really enjoyed the cooking class. So we do this with a lot of the countries. She'll make dinner based on that country. So this has been a real win, that it's kind of more interesting than, say, like a textbooky geography course. And I used to print the weekly plan, and then we would highlight what we're doing. But then I realized the nice thing about the weekly plan that's on my computer is it's all hyperlinked. So if it says, watch this video about what is tundra this morning with Russia, what is tundra? We just click on it, takes us to YouTube. So it's all hyperlinked, which makes it much easier. So now we just pull it up on the computer. But like I said, I have to do just a little bit more legwork pulling together the week. And I'm not used to that. Maybe that doesn't bother you at all. This is excellent for teaching multiple ages together. And this was like their elementary based, I think. So this was maybe went up to 6th grade. So if you had all elementary kids, you can find stuff to fit each one's level. There's even a whole list of readers for tag-alongs, like your younger kids who want to learn geography with the older siblings, but they're not quite old enough for all the activities. There's stuff for them too. So it's very versatile, very customizable. I love it. I love the idea. It's been easy to use. It's just that I'm not quite used to what is required to pull it all together during the week. But I will do a proper review soon of this. But this is another win. We're definitely keeping it. It's been a good fit this year. All right, last but not least, here's a roundup of our electives. My daughter's still taking piano lessons from me. We do occasional art lessons with Masterpiece Society. New to us this year that I didn't have on my radar when we did the 6th grade curriculum choices video at the beginning of the year. She took one-on-one via Zoom once a week ASL lessons with someone that we got connected to. She thrived with them, absolutely loved them. So this is not like an online platform. This is with someone we personally were connected to, and she has loved that. So I think we're going to hopefully continue that for years to come. It's been really amazing. And then finally, she's doing Jonah and Nahum. These are the Bible studies I wrote for homeschoolers. She did the Little Fishes version when she was younger and wanted to do the big kid version. So this is written for grades 5 through 12. It's very flexible. So since she's on the younger end of that, we don't push it. This is not meant to be like go through super quick or do like a whole chapter a day, like nothing like that. It's very incremental. We just do as much as we want to do a day and put it away. Your high schoolers who need a grade on the transcript, there's projects in there. You can assign grades. There's rubrics. So you can make this into a full-fledged Bible course for your older kids, or it's very flexible to use for like your 6th graders. And so all that's necessary is our book that walks them right through it with the inductive method. And then we print out the book of Jonah and just kind of throw it in a folder and mark it up. So if you want to try free samples of this, you can find it at 41more.com/samples, or I will put links with this video. Okay, before the sun totally comes in this window and blinds me, I'm going to wrap this video up. But I hope it was helpful to see a really transparent, the good, the bad, the ugly. Sometimes things don't quite work out the way we hoped at the beginning of the year when everything is new and shiny and bright. Sometimes things just are a flop, and that's okay. So I hope you see that you have total permission to toss something out if it's not working, whether it's January or March or November, whenever it is. You're in charge of your homeschool. Remember that, not the curriculum. So if you want to see a full-fledged detailed review of all these different curriculums and all the things we're doing in our homeschool, you can check it out at my website at 41more.com.